Caesars Superdome. They're getting the turf ready for Super Bowl 59 on Sunday, but right now we're here on Radio Row alongside Jared Payton, the son of Sweetness. I'm Chris Hagan, and let's get right to it. We're going to jump in with the legend, the Hall of Famer, Lawrence Taylor, and his grandson, Zaire Hines. The fellas, a proud grandpa,
Look at the smile.
Grandson.
Look at the smile, man.
That's real love right there, isn't it?
I got bills to pay. That's all.
Hey, before we start talking football, let's get down to it. Every athlete, every mind, the Lawrence Family Foundation. Young fella, what can you tell us about what's going on with that?
Every athlete, every mind. It's a program for us to show young people like me that mental health is very important. Like, it's very, very important. Like, especially for men. You need to have a good mental health. Like, you need to have a good mental to go on in life. You feel me?
Yeah, what's up when your grandfather and when we were younger, that's something you couldn't talk about your mental health. You couldn't talk about your feelings.
About it. Never heard. I mean, I wish I could have had the opportunities you have right now to learn from different people and different ways of looking at things. But I'm like an old school type, so I'm just one way, and that's the only way I want to do it.
Your elders, your coaches, they would talk to you a certain way.
Yeah.
And that you just took it. You had to. But now you got to be more in tune with what young folks are going through.
I wonder, though, LT, did anybody ask you back in the day how you were doing? Because it seemed like you were the man, and everybody maybe always perceived that you were doing well. But did anybody close to you saying, like, Lawrence, how you doing, man? Did they ask that question to you?
No, I didn't get that question asked to me, how am I doing? But you know what? Hey, usually all you have to do is read the papers. They'll tell you how I'm doing.
Zaire, nowadays, like when we were younger, we didn't have social media. We didn't have all these other distractions and things that could weigh on you. What's the daily adventure like for you? What is it like? What are some of the challenge you face as a young man these days?
Hey, really, with mental health, I feel like it's a lot. I go through, I'm not going to fake. I go through stuff on my own. Like, I miss my father. I really do. And that does weigh on me mentally. But I do have my support system right here, the Family Foundation.
And it's good to know you don't have to go through things alone. You don't have to sit in your room and just dwell on things, do you?
No.
Right. No. Like, no. I want people to understand, like, you can talk about how you feel. It's real. Like, everybody go through something.
Yo, man, I'm going to tell you something. I got chills down my arm. Legacy, man. I'm looking at you and I'm thinking about my son and what he goes through with his grandpa who's not here, who's just like him. Gold jacket, one of the best to ever do it at their position. You have an opportunity to do something special with the family legacy. And I'm proud of you for how you're handling yourself, because all this stuff ain't easy.
Right.
But you figuring it out, and guess what? You're only gonna get better as you get older, man. So keep working. But look at that support system that you have around you. They got you.
And you want to be a plumber, right?
No, an electrician.
Well, the good news.
That was good. It's good to be.
That's right. You got to have something.
Yeah.
And you know what? The good news is about your stress level today. This is the worst thing you'll do all day.
Yeah.
Is talk to us. LT, man, you think about when you get you've been to the mountaintop of this game. These two teams getting together. We think we got the two best teams. Best team doesn't always win, though. These two have made it. Are you excited about this matchup come Sunday?
Yeah, you know what? I think being an NFC team in the same division as the Giants and stuff, Philadelphia, they need to go ahead and knock this out. Knock this out. I think Shaquan did a great thing, man. Not how many people will do that to decide not to chase the record.
Right.
Yeah.
To sit out. I mean, how many people would have done that?
He could have been selfish. He could have said me, but he said team.
Yeah, he's a team guy, and I hate the fact that the Giants, traded him. I mean, God, God.
I thought you were going to cry. I thought a tear was going to come down there for a second.
That's going
I
to
almost
play
cried.
heavy for years and years. But I would like him. I think he deserves. He's a good person. He's a great athlete, and I think he deserves to win this game.
You better.
All right. Now, there is Mahomes. Listen, hey, that's a problem. That's a problem. Because if he's down, would you want to see the ball in his hand with 2 minutes to go? And man, hey, oh God.
Let me ask you this:
That's a problem.
you're the master getting after the quarterback.
Yes.
Strip sack. These guys nowadays, man, they're so elusive. How frustrating could it be back in your day having to chase a guy like Mahomes who you think you got him, but you don't?
You put a spy on him. I
Okay.
mean, that's what I would probably do. I wouldn't be the pass rusher every time. Hey, I'll sit in the middle, and then my job is wherever you go, I go. I don't care if you go to the bathroom. I'm going with you. Okay? Hey, listen, wherever you go, I go. All right? And that's what you got to do with a guy like that, because that man, he's something.
He's something else.
I'm telling you what, he is something to watch.
All right, we got to
If
listen.
you got your money on that team.
Oh.
Okay?
LT, hey, we
got to
love
wrap
you, man.
with you. We got to wrap with you though.
Thank
So
you.
your official pick is you going Eagles.
I'm going Eagles.
Okay.
I'm going Eagles.
Zaire.
He
gonna
going
fly.
Eagles,
Eagles fly.
Eagles
Hey.
fly.
Zaire Hines, man, we're looking forward to great things from you.
Thank you.
You got a proud grandpa right
Yes,
there,
sir.
LT. We love you, brother.
Hey,
Great to
thank
see
you.
you again, and we'll do it down the road. Hey, let's hit a break. We're back with more on Big Game Bound. We're back on Big Game Bound. It's been fun and games here on Radio Row in New Orleans, Jarrett, but sad news breaking from back in Chicago.
Yeah, Virginia McCaskey, the matriarch of the Chicago Bears, has passed away at the age of 102 today. And sad day for the whole entire McCaskey family, also the city of Chicago, but for also my family as well, Chris. I mean, she's known me since when I was born in 1980, and just the relationship that my family has had with the McCaskeys, but how Virginia McCaskey always treated my family like her family. It's one of those things that I don't know. It's just kind of hard to process because she's family to me, and it's a weird situation because I'm in this business now, right, where we have to speak on the things that are happening in sports. It's weird though when you think about it, when there are people that are close to you and they're almost like family, where it hurts a little bit that you have to talk about it. But I think it's about celebrating her life and celebrating everything that she was about. And when you think about the city of Chicago and you think about the Chicago Bears, she's one of the first people that you think of. And a lot of memories running through my head right now, Chris. I think the biggest thing is once I had kids and my sister had kids, Virginia McCaskey would always send the grandkids something for Christmas. They would always get this package
Right.
from Mama Bear. And it speaks to who she was as a person and how much she loved my dad. And I know the one thing that I know for sure, my dad was her favorite football player. I can say that without a doubt. I know it for a fact. And when my dad passed, I know it really hit her hard. And now we're talking about 2025, and now it's hitting us a little hard.
You think about a life well lived.
Yeah.
Turned 102 years old last year. Amazing life. Doesn't take away from the sorrow and sadness the family is feeling. And you hear all the time, you'll hear football teams and athletes say, hey, we're a family. But that's something that was especially true about the Bears and their relationship with the McCaskies.
Yeah, I mean, it was just to see how thoughtful she was and just how genuine she was as a person. She was always there, always smiling. And even at the Bears 100 event, to think about how many Bears victories and Bears games she's seen in her entire life. She's been there for almost all of it. And I go back to hearing the stories about at the old Soldier Field when her and my grandma, my dad's mom, used to be sitting up in the skyboxes hanging out. And she would come over to visit with my grandma. And on those little tiny napkins, they used to draw up plays. My grandma knew football. Virginia McCaskey knew football. So to see how they would, go through drawing up plays for the running game, man, talk about two ladies that knew football. Virginia McCaskey was tapped into the game, loved the game of football, and pretty much embodied everything that the Chicago Bears and the NFL was all about.
When you think about relationships, friends, and family, you always have special moments that stand out. And we think about back in 1999 when we lost your father. What was the first interaction you had with them?
Oh man, I was tasked for the family to go up to Hallis Hall to sit up on the electric and sit there and talk about, what was going on with our family, our father passing, and she was there, and she spoke before me, and the hug that she gave me was unbelievable, and I needed a hug at that time because there was so much going on, but she always made you feel special. And so, in one of the toughest times of my life, I was with her. And so it just goes to these memories of all the times. But there's a picture that I just posted on social media, and it's a picture of us at the Bears 100 and me crouched down next to her and this smile on her face and her talking to me, telling me, I used to change your diapers back in the day. I'm like, are you kidding me? The matriarch, like you. What? She was the best of the best and had a heart of gold, and she is definitely going to be missed. But, man, she lived a life. She lived a life of love, a life of greatness, giving back in service. But it was the way that she treated people in my heart is how she's going to be remembered.
I know you've already posted some photographs on social media, and it will be fun to see Bears Nation and the alumni, the players and family. So many great pictures and memories they'll share because, like you said, it's an extremely sad day, but there'll be so much joy. There'll be so many things shared and memories like the ones you've shared right here today.
Chris, we got to celebrate, even though it's sad. We celebrate her life because 102. We all hope someday that we can live that long. She lived it to the fullest. She was everything that the Bears stand for. She was the rock. She was the rock. And when we look at female owners in the NFL, I mean, she's the first person that pops up into the head when you talk about legacy. Legacy. What she's done for the game of football, what she's done for the Chicago Bears. We'll never see anything like it ever again.
And it's sometimes, kind of touching and strange how life works out. Super Bowl week. We're down here in New Orleans. Where the Bears won.
Super Bowl 20.
Yeah.
And we're back here again. And so just to know that she's in our heart, in our spirit, and we're just thinking about the whole entire McCaskey family throughout this tough process. But she was really, really loved. Everybody called her Mama Bear. Everyone called her Mama Bear. And I was just looking at a picture that popped up on my Google Home, and it's our family with her at Super Bowl. I think it was in Texas, in Houston, and her sitting at the table just a smile with all of us. It's those memories that will last forever.
And it's a good place to be. A lot of folks here, so many former players, Hall of Famers. A good place to be to share stories and remember, as Jared did. And it's fun in games. We'd like to have a good time here, but a somber moment. We want to take a moment to talk about that. Let you share some of your special memories. Closer than a lot of folks were to the family there, and of course the franchise. We're going to hit a break here on Big Game Bound, but just the breaking news: Virginia McCaskey has passed away at the age of 102. Hey, we're back on Big Game Bound in New Orleans. The old man, the mighty Mississippi. What do we call that, JP? Is that a paddle boat?
No, man, that's the what's it called? The Natchez, whatever. I was on that boat.
That boat's called the Natchez?
Yeah, something.
It's called that's a steamer.
Steamboat.
See there, we're teaching you about football and about the aquatics down here.
Yeah, that's how we do.
That's not my line of work, though, but it looked like a pretty cool little boat there. Hey, he's Jared Payton, the son of Sweetness. I am Chris Hagan. We're back here on Radio Row. We've had all kinds of guests, all kinds of cool things going on. And one thing is we celebrate the football we grew up with. Yeah. Big things happening for flag football. And right now we're going to show you a little interview we did just a little bit earlier today. We've got Callie Brownson and Hoosh Doucette talking about flag football and representing Team USA. Take a listen. Callie, everybody's here because they love football, and then now we're expanding that footprint when we talk about your sport. This is a good time to be playing flag football, isn't it?
I absolutely agree. And really, it's always been a good time, but now there's a lot more eyes on it. Obviously, with recent news of flag football being in the Olympics in LA in 2028, we're just excited. It's an exciting time for the sport.
Hoosh, I'm going to tell you this right now. When I was in college at Mississippi State, I was an elite flag football player because I have a long torso and very short legs, and nobody could bend over and grab my flag. So I didn't have the body to be an NCAA Heisman Trophy winner, but I'm going to tell you right now, if I get that ball, you'll see me in the end zone.
You'd have been a Heisman flag football player.
Yeah, it's about you don't have to have the brute strength. You got to have the elusiveness. You got to have the speed, and that's a special skill, isn't it?
Yes, of course. That's one of my best traits is my speed, my agility, as well as being a quarterback. I don't have to be the biggest or the tallest to be able to throw over an offensive line. So that's one of the things that I'm able to exceed with.
JP was scoring NFL touchdowns, but you couldn't touch me and Hoosh.
Let me just tell you something. I just was a couple of months ago was in San Francisco and did an interview with Steve Young, and he coaches his girls' high school flag football team. And he was adamant that he believes that that the game of football was made for girls, just by the way the movements and all that stuff. You agree with that? I mean, he was adamant with me when he looked at the game. Not that the guys can't play, but he just says he thought that the game was actually made for girls.
Yeah, I think the best way to say it is it's so unique in what attributes you need to be successful in it. I mean, to that point, it's very unique to flag football. And so when we talk about this whole tackle to flag thing, the transition, I mean, they're vastly different sports. Yeah. So, to your point, whether it's, more generated for girls and women or for men, I would just say it's just a unique skill set that exists.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this, Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame's head coach. He was having some fun with one of the reporters. I guess one of the reporters coaches Freeman's son's flag football team, and he was giving him grief about he didn't have enough flags on, you know. So just to have Notre Dame's head coach, they're getting ready for the national championship, and he's referencing flag football. And now to know that you don't have to transition from flag football to quote unquote, you know, traditional real football. You can take this to the highest level and go out there and start representing your country. That's got to be awesome.
Yeah, I never thought that we would be at this stage in this moment. Even speaking with you guys, like flag football is definitely one of them fast rising rapidly sports of throughout the globe. You know, it's not necessarily just in the United States. And I've come to learn that those guys out there, or women out there, they train just as hard as us. They even start at an earlier age than we start. So that's their professional league out there. And man, I don't think y'all realize how big of a sport it is in those other countries.
Yeah, we got some video rolling right there, and you can see the moves. I mean,
look at that.
This isn't like just hanging out at Thanksgiving in the backyard. This is like, hey, we're game planning, we're scheming, and we're getting after it. It's at the highest level.
I'll tell you. I mean, playing at the highest level, but then also having kids that are playing flag football at the moment, they're learning the game at a different pace than I did growing up. And it seems like they're way ahead where I was growing up.
Yep.
Yeah, so like we didn't have, me growing up, they didn't have a Hoosh that I looked up to playing flag football. They didn't have a Vanita for the women to look up to playing flag football. And now that's who we are for those kids now that's playing.
2 feet down or 1 foot down in bounds for a catch.
One.
Okay.
Yep.
I like that. I like that. What do you, the athleticism and, you know, the younger you start, the more you can translate this to other sports. I always thought it was great when we were coming up. We would play multiple sports. We would nowadays these kids specialize and they're 5 years old and guess what? You're playing baseball your whole life. I think so many things in flag football can translate across the spectrum.
I definitely agree with you. And one of the things we look at on the reverse of that is what makes a flag football player special? What kind of skills and attributes do they need to have? And what sports are they playing now where that translates? So we're looking at it both ways. Yeah, you can play flag football and that translate, and you can be a multi-sport athlete with similar attributes and the things that you're good at. But also, like, as we continue to grow this, what other sports translate over to flag football as well from a talent ID standpoint? So it's exciting. It's exciting as we continue to learn more about our sport. And I just want to say, too, to Hoosh's point, what's so impactful about being in this moment is there are flag football role models now where that wasn't always the case, but because of the platform that this sport is getting, there are, you know, young men and women that look up to our national team players, and now they've added flag football to, I want to go to the Olympics and play. That is alone incredible.
Hoosh, Callie, great to be here. Hoosh, when this is over, I'm going to step out here. I'm going to show you some of my moves I had from back in the day in college.
I think we got a football in the bag.
Because I still got a little shake. You're not getting this flag. How tall are you?
5'7".
5'8". That's what I'm saying. We were built for this. Hey, excited to watch what's in the future for you guys. Love the sport. Like I said, I was an elite level flag football guy. We'll be back after this. And by that, I mean we'll be back right now. Because you know what? We do things fast around here, but not as fast as our next guest, Ross Chastain,
Vroom, vroom.
driver of the #1 Cup car. Now, this is not a lie. I'm not just saying this to suck up to you. We were out in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna get you some beer, Jarrett. What kind of beer do you want?" And what did you say?
Busch Light, man.
He said Busch Light.
It's my beer choice.
And that's exactly. So I was in Nashville a couple weeks ago, so I sent him a picture. And what was I holding in the picture?
The Busch Light,
Busch
man.
Light.
So
All right.
So that's. I mean, I know that's what you're repping right now. That's the unique thing about NASCAR is, you know, usually you have small little logos. By golly, you see that Cup car coming, you know.
The best salesman in all of sports.
Well, yeah,
car drivers, man, I love it.
we take it serious. And I told Busch Light when I first met with them a few years ago that I drank Busch Light before they sponsored me, and they weren't sure yet. We were still getting to know each other and see if the relationship was going to work. And then I told them, I'm going to drink it long after. Whether you sponsor me or not, I'm still going to drink it because it was the truth, and it's just been what we drank.
Here's what amazes me is a football game, you get through the game, you get about 15 minutes before you go do interviews. You go race, you know, however many miles. As soon as you get out of the car, there's a microphone in your face, and maybe the day didn't go the way you wanted it to. Maybe you're not too happy. But the amazing thing is you have to do it right then, and then at the end you have to go, but I want to thank Busch Light, Premium Auto Parts. You have to, is that just programmed into your head? You remember all that stuff?
It is. And I did not come from a family that spoke on camera. We're watermelon farmers.
Right.
We're from South Florida, and we've been in ag for a long time. So farmers aren't usually on camera. They're not very front facing to consumers. So as I got into racing, my dad pushed me to tell our story and to get on camera and do practice interviews. And he's like, I don't practice in the mirror, practice to to us, the family. And so I've definitely came a long way. I still struggle on the bad days though, because the true emotion comes out, and I've had my fair share of get out, and you just verbally say something. As soon as it leaves my lips, I'm like, oh, if I could just take that back. But
I enjoy it though. I've seen a couple of those. I like it.
Yeah, our media group that travels with NASCAR, they're usually pretty good. They can tell. And Trackhouse now, my Cup Series team, they know. Lauren, who's here with me today, she can hold them off. Give me 2 minutes. She's like, all right, I'm kind of running out of reasons to tell them to hold off, and then they'll come and hit me with the hard questions.
You know what? Everybody thinks that driving cars is easy, but when you get a chance to have an experience on the track, pretend like you're a race car driver, and you get on those turns and you hit those turns, it is not that easy. Just please talk about how tough it is when you guys are like inches away from each other, bumper to bumper, making those unbelievable moves and have to make decisions in a split second, kind of like a football player.
Yeah, well, it really all starts with the Daytona 500, and that starts next Sunday, and February 16th. So whenever we go to our first race, it's our biggest race. That's where we have the most attention. We kick off the season, our first points event down at the Daytona International Speedway, a historic track. But the way the rules lay out, the cars can't get away from each other. When we go to anywhere else, we go to Indianapolis, we go to Atlanta, we go to Sonoma out in California, coast to coast. Most of the tracks we can get away. The fast car gets up front, slow cars are in the back. At Daytona, the slowest car in qualifying could win the Daytona 500 legitimately because of the draft, and that's caused by the cars pushing each other. So it's faster for 2 or 3 cars to be in a line pushing than it is by ourselves, and that's because the corners are so long. We're not grip limited. So we start with the most nerve-wracking race, the highest prestige, the highest paying race from the payout side, and we're 2, 3, and can be 4 wide if we really try.
What they call it
Super Bowl off the bat.
They call it the Super Bowl of NASCAR, and we're at the Super Bowl talking about it. And what I love about Daytona, I've had the privilege of covering a lot of those, is like you said, everybody, you're trying to maybe be friendly or whatever. You get down to those last 3 or 4 laps, and it's like, I don't care if you're my teammate, best man at my wedding, best friend. I'm going. It's wreckers or checkers. That's what I'm going for, and that's why you'll see somebody that's kind of mid-pack. Next thing you know, here comes the quote-unquote big one, and look at me. I'm Chris Hagan. I just won the Daytona 500. It really is a race from start to finish.
It is 500 miles. If you travel that on the highway, you think, all right, I'm going to average 55 or 60 miles an hour the whole way there. Well, when we're racing, we're upwards of 190, almost 200 miles an hour. They're trying to keep us under 200. We seem to flip a lot easier if we go over 200. So we try to get right to that number, stay under it. And last year in the 2024 Daytona 500, I could see the white flag, so I had 2.5 miles to go, and I made a move to win the race, and I spun myself out trying to go through the middle to make a pass for the lead. And those memories, they'll stay with me forever. That I had that. I got through 497.5 miles, and then I made a very aggressive decision to try to go through the middle and caused a wreck. Only 2 of us really taken out in it, but that ended the race, and we didn't win. So, we had a shot, and we'll try to put ourselves in position again this year.
Let me tell you this. In Indy, there's all kind of tracks. You can go karting. You can go to Mark Dismore's, karting track. And like maybe I was a football guy growing up, so I thought, these race car drivers, they're not athletes. They're just driving. I just drove that little cart for like 15 minutes, and my arms, my forearms, I know a lot of IndyCar drivers. You guys are incredibly fit. You have to have the endurance. You have to have the strength. And I would challenge you, go out there and try just a ride along at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I've done ride along. I've been in the 2-seater for IndyCar, and I've done ride alongs in a stock car. That is no joke. That is a wear and tear on your body. You have to be prepared, don't you?
Well, we're specified into what we do. So we train for a race car. We train to sit 38 times a year or every Sunday, and that's how I work my week, and my schedule is to be ready for Sunday at 2:30, whatever time the race is, and we back it up all the way to Sunday night the week before after the last race. But I can't run a 40-yard dash like any of these players can. I can't jump. I can't catch the ball. But we run, cycle, and do reaction time training. And all of our gym sessions are led by, for me, and some of the Chevy drivers, Dan Jansen, former Olympic gold medalist, great guy. And he tailors our our weeks and our years now, we've been working together several years, into what he sees best for us to be in the car. And we need to be able to sit there and make as close of a good decision at the end of the race after 500 miles, maybe 4 hours, as we do at the first lap or qualifying on Saturday, because we have to sustain that. You can't go sit on the bench. We can't just pull in the pits and like relax. Even under caution, you're thinking about the pit stop. You're trying to get your tires ready. We're prepping the rubber. Rubber is very moldable, so we're trying to get the tires in the best shape to restart the race or to start the race.
You can't pull into a Bucky. You can't pull into Bucky's here and take a little break in the middle of the
No watermelon breaks.
Well, hey, guess what? You're behind the wheel, but talk about how crucial it is for your pit crew to be ready to go and what they go through on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, those are the true athletes of NASCAR. It used to be 40 years ago, it was the mechanics who built the car. Then they went over and they changed the tires, and it'd take them 20 seconds or longer way back in the day. But
By the
now,
way, just to make you feel good here,
wow.
Ross, we got a little.
All right, well, those that can't see, they just slid over a big old bucket of watermelon.
I don't know if that's from your farm. I don't know if it's from the family brand, but hold it up. Look at that. We make people
That's
feel
awesome.
good. How about
I'll
that?
wait till y'all talk to take a bite. I've learned my lesson on that.
That is so awesome.
That is awesome. Thank y'all. But yeah, so the pit crew, we've got it down into the 8-second range for 4 tires and fuel and adjustments in the back of the car. So those guys and some girls go over the wall. It's their full-time job and career. And some of them came out of the league. Marshall McFadden played in the league. He's on our team, not on the one car, but at Trackhouse. And Jeremy Kimbrough, another guy, came out of the league. So you have a lot of former athletes, league or college, and they were all high school athletes. They are naturally gifted. And it's cool talking to them, because when they come out of their professional or college careers or even out of high school, they're still looking for that they have that drive to work out. They have that drive to build their body into the tempo that they want it to be. And talking to Marshall, he says, man, I was going to pay a personal trainer to keep my body into what I had built it into. I didn't want to just give that up. And then he met a NASCAR team, and he's like, they're going to pay me. They're going to let me work out. They're going to pay me to do it. They're going to fly me around the country. I still get that competition side of going over the wall and jacking the car faster than anybody. And they're animals. They get after it. Yeah.
Ross, I enjoy your interviews. I enjoy listening to the communication between you and the box, because it is. People think, oh, it's just the driver. People think in football, oh, it's just the quarterback. It is a team sport.
Team sport.
Those guys
man.
in the pits, you can win and lose races by how you get in and how you get out. I'm so excited. Longtime racing fan. Excited about Daytona. Excited about the Brickyard, back where it belongs on the oval. I've been promised by your PR team I'll get a one-on-one interview with you in Indianapolis. So don't try to big league me and walk right past. I'll remind you, watermelon, Super Bowl. I know you're not the biggest football guy, but just give us a pick. Flip a coin. Who do you like, Chiefs or Eagles?
Give me the Eagles.
Going
Dang,
Eagles.
We're getting more Eagles today than we have since we've been here.
And you know what's great is the Busch Light car, the #1 car. Watch the Daytona 500. What did we say? February 16th is coming up.
2:30 on Fox.
It's the Super Bowl of NASCAR.
That's
and
awesome.
you come out with the biggest race of the year. It's a little unusual.
Yeah.
It's always a good show. Looking forward to it, Ross. We wish you the best of luck, and I know he'll be excited watching that Busch Light car roll around
Yes,
all
sir.
season long. He's Ross Chastain. Give him a watch. Wish him the best. Right now, going to hit a break. Back with more on Big Game Bound. Hey, we're back on Big Game Bound. We just had some
Listen,
watermelon
I would
with Ross
eat. I
Chastain.
would eat that.
Whatever. It's
no,
fine.
I would, but I don't have anything to wipe my hands with after I'm done.
You know
So
what? If only we knew a couple of twins that were.
you know.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
Look who we got. Now,
Hey. Oh, there we go.
I've known you guys for a while, and I always get confused which is which. So introduce yourselves.
Well, I'm Shaquille Griffin.
Shaquille,
and thank you guys for having us. On behalf of Bounty, you know, my favorite wingman, Shaquille Griffin.
Yes, sir.
You guys, I remember you guys had took the nation by storm. Everybody loves you two guys, and that's why right there. Always smiling.
Always smiling, man.
I've interviewed them a few times. Sit down with them, and you just feel better. You just feel better about life. And I feel even more better, if that's even good grammar, when you bring wings. I mean, come on, what's up?
Oh yeah, we already knew what you guys wanted, so we brought the wings, and we brought the Bounty to clean it up right after. So we already knew we came prepared. We wanted to make sure we came prepared.
You got matching jackets.
Oh yeah. They can't get these back.
Oh yeah.
I'm about to say, don't let them.
These are not borrowed.
The freshest thing that I've seen out here is those jackets.
Yeah, see, but they ain't see. I don't put the colors.
Oh, look at this.
Oh,
and
my.
the shoes.
Oh my.
It's the details.
They can't. I gotta eat these, right?
Oh yeah.
Right.
You know, life is about the details, just like football. You guys have always been. You've inspired each other. You've inspired a lot of folks. What's it like to be able to still go out there, your wingman, literally at your side, and spread the love and spread the word about what y'all's lives have been like?
You wanna go there?
I mean, it's amazing, and honestly, too. I mean, as we get older, we starting to understand the magnitude,
Right.
Yeah.
of what we're doing and what we've done.
Yeah.
And I think now where we at too is him still being in the league, me being retired and transitioning, being able to see kind of different facets of the world in a sense. Him seeing football still and being like that vision where it's like I still got to handle my business and prepare myself, but still being to have the understanding where it's just like, hey, reevaluating everything that we did, man, it's something special and that's bigger than just one person. We're understanding the value of team, understanding the value of a locker room, understanding the value of support, and now we're at the point where we're working on actually a docudrama to explain just that. So, can you ask me when I was a little kid, will that be about? No idea. But no idea.
Think about how hard it is, and both you guys know, trying to get to the league is tough, but to be able to do it as brothers together, it's a story. It needs to be. It's a movie.
Yes,
it is a movie. How has it been to be able to have one another as you went through that process of getting to where you're at right now?
Oh, well, I can tell you one thing is it made everything easier.
Yeah.
You talking about we started playing football when we was 4, and to be on the same team all the way up into the highest level you can get to. Man, it's just something that I don't think even kids even dream about. Like we imagine, hopefully making it to the NFL. We know how hard it was, how much work goes into it, but I couldn't tell you it was gonna be on the same team. You know, a year apart, I get drafted in 2017 to Seattle Seahawks, and in 2018, Shaquille Griffin get drafted to the same team. It's no way. That couldn't be written. There's no way, and to be a part of that, it's phenomenal. That experience, man, I'm telling you, I'm almost going on 10 years in this league now, and that's still one of my favorite moments. It's hard to. It's hard
man,
to.
Time
flies.
Time
flies.
I got bad news for your movie idea, your docuseries. You got to go find two twin brothers that are great actors and athletes. I mean, that's going to be a short list. You don't have to play yourselves, okay? This is what's going to happen. I think you guys could pull it off.
I'm not sure if I can get back to them teenage ages. I don't know how to make up and all that stuff work.
We're going to need some CGI in there.
Yeah, if I could, I'd try. I don't know how young they can make me from here. You know, we touching 30s now. We 30 now, so I don't know if that.
Well, it's like you said earlier. You don't know when you're living your life in the moment how it's going to inspire others. You don't know the path your life's going to take.
Right.
And when I see you, I just see you. I don't see a disability. And it seems to me, when you looked in the mirror, you never saw a disability either.
Not at all. But I think that what led me to what I do now, what we do now.
Yeah.
And me growing up, I didn't know I was disabled. I didn't know I was handicapped. I mean, tribute to this guy. He never allowed me to think of such. And, you go through all these different phases of life, Little League, high school, college, NFL, and understanding the certain resources that you receive from your peers and from everybody around you. And then when you retire, I end up becoming an advocate in the space of disabilities and understand that it was a lack of resources over there. Where, just to give you an example, in the 70s and the 80s, anybody with a disability was sent to hospitals. Mm-hmm. They wasn't in schools. You don't see people with disabilities inside the gyms. So you see the lack of community for them to be involved where I know what it felt like to be involved. I know what it felt like to have teammates with two hands who believed in me, to have coaches who believed in me, to have the audience believe in me. And now what we're doing now is being able to make adaptive products, but utilizing the inclusion factor of what we have to create a new environment, to create a new community that say no much disabled or not, we are human. We are the same. We just need everybody to come together to show that.
What makes me mad about you, though, is you've taken away all my excuses for not being able to be in this. I'm like, hey, they're giving us the rap. Real quick, one-word answer, Chiefs or Eagles?
Chiefs.
Same?
Eagles, so we can make it a competition.
Of course. Hey, they're the Griffin brothers. We can sit here with the Griffin brothers all day long, but right now, let's check out our interview we had earlier with Denzel Ward. Take a listen. All right, Denzel, let's get it out of the way. Let's talk about the Ohio State University national champions. You have the floor. You get 30 seconds to brag on this.
Oh, man. Best team in the world, the Ohio State Buckeye.
You don't get 30 seconds. You are done.
Hey, he can brag when your team wins.
Right, you win a
brag,
national championship.
Yeah, you can't say best team in the world. He comes out of the gates with the best team in the world.
Oh, yeah.
I guess there's probably not a team in Germany that could beat him. So, yeah, I guess you can say best team in the world. But, hey, you're not going to brag on yourself, but we will. JP, this guy's got it going on.
I mean, we're talking about Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee again in the fold. The amazing work that you're doing, Denzel, is amazing. But I also want to know and just talk about just giving back in service, why it means so much to you, and Make Them Know Your Name Foundation, what it's all about.
Yeah, so I have a Heart Health Foundation. It was sadly inspired by the passing of my dad from cardiac arrest back in 2016. And when I got to the league, I was just talking to my mom and my family, like, what can we do to help make a positive impact with something? And I think it was a no-brainer to go heart health. And so we spread heart health awareness around the community and around the world, teaching people how to do CPR, use AED kits. And we put various AED kits around the community and recreation centers. And I think we taught over 35,000 people now how to do CPR. So just trying to be a positive impact, man, and spread heart health awareness.
Isn't it amazing how many people don't know how to do CPR, just thinking about it, and the fact that you're getting an opportunity to learn in those situations where it is critical at that time. You got to know. A lot of people don't know how to do it.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely. A lot of people do. I didn't know how to do it before, just learning later. Like when my dad had passed away, it was actually an AD kit on the wall, but no one had used it. Like they didn't have the confidence or knowledge to use it. And so just trying to spread that awareness so people avoid people going through fatalities like my family and I went through. It's
that old cliche when people say, you know, if I can just save one life. If you have just been able to save one life, that's a meaningful life, and that gives purpose to what you're doing. But I'm sure it's gone way beyond just one life. And what kind of pride do you take in that, knowing like, you know, some people do this and this with their free time and their platform, but I'm out here trying to literally save a life down the road. Yeah, I take a lot of pride in it because I mean it was a dark time when my family and I had was going through this, and it's gotten better, but just being able, like you said, save at least one life and help people not have to go through that tragedy, I think goes a long way. And even like you said, we help one life, that'd be great. But we're just trying to impact as many people as we can and help save lives.
What does it mean to you to be Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee? What does it mean? It's a great honor, man. It's a great honor. Just being the same sentence and same name as Walter Payton is a great honor. It's the highest honor in the NFL. And like I always tell people, I never wanted to even win the award or wanted to be in this name or category. I just wanted to give back and help the community and do things in that nature. But it's just a great honor to be recognized on this platform and with nationwide and everything, and the NFL to be able to showcase heart health awareness and get back to the community. A lot of great nominees out there that's well deserving of it. That's the best thing is you don't have people setting out like, I'm going to go out there. They're doing things from their heart. Yes. And then to have that recognized, it's not people trying to get that pat on the back. But let me ask you this. We talk about Walter Payton. You were not even thought of when he was out there balling. Have you ever treated yourself and gone back and watched the man on the field and what he was able to do? Oh, there's no question. I mean, I was younger. They played all the highlights growing up. You watch NFL football, you go see Walter Payton running across the field. So, no, it was great seeing him growing up and seeing his highlights and the type of player and man that he was. That's what you do, though. You love the guys that are good people off the field, but when you're balling out like you, to have the best of both worlds, that's what it's all about. Yeah. Denzel, I want to know what it's like. I know Dad's not here, but Mom's here. How was your guys' relationship through this process, and how has she helped you go through your mission and your vision to give back in service?
Man, I always say my mom's the backbone of the foundation, so she gets everything running smoothly. She's on site at all the events that we have, running the show. So just very appreciative of her and the efforts that she's been putting in. And like I said, she's the Walter Payton Mom of the Year in my book. So she's helped a lot, and I definitely wouldn't have even been in this seat or been able to talk with you guys if it wasn't for her.
Let's talk a little football. First of all, like everybody, whenever there's a Hard Knocks team, I'm always watching that. What was that like, having those Hard Knocks cameras? Did you even notice things were going on, or were you aware that these cameras are with you guys all the time?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. They did a good job. Like in meeting rooms, they just have it up on the wall, but you would see like it start zooming towards you, or like so it's like, okay, you're on film right now. You may have to watch what you say, but no, it wasn't too bad. They did a good job of kind of having it subtle and not really having it right in your face.
So, did you think anybody changed? Do you think coaches changed how they would talk? Was it, or could you say, hey, coach, before these cameras were here, that's not how you were acting?
No, you could see you might see a little bit of that, you know, a little bit more enthusiastic and energy coming from some people from the cameras on.
Well, look at this weekend, man. How excited are you to see this matchup, man, with the Chiefs and the Eagles?
Yeah, definitely excited to see the matchup. The Hurts and the Eagles got another chance to take Mahomes and the Chiefs down, so I'm looking forward to the game and seeing who comes out on top.
Do you have I mean, obviously, you're focused on your team, your career. Do some players say, I'm not going to watch the playoffs because they'd rather be there. As a football fan, though, growing up, you have to want to watch the game, don't you?
Yeah, like you said, I've been a football fan since I was a little kid. So I'm going to watch the game and check it out and see what plays are being made and just how the game goes. You know, I want to be in that game someday. So I just want to see how the game goes and hopefully get there someday.
We got to ask you, though, who do you like? If you're breaking this down, players watch games differently than fans. Fans just follow the ball. I'm sure you're watching different things on different plays.
Right.
Are you leaning one way or the other?
For who I think will win?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the Eagles. I got the Eagles winning it, getting the Super Bowl.
Okay, we've had a lot of people in that seat.
A lot of people in
Chiefs,
that seat.
Chiefs.
Everybody's like, I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. Why do you like the Eagles?
I like the Eagles because, one, I don't want to see the Chiefs three-peat. That's the first one. Don't want to see them three-peat. But I think they got a great team, though. Overall team, like I think they're balanced. They got the running back, quarterback, receivers, defense. So I think they got a great matchup for this Chiefs team, and they're capable of doing it.
What about your squad? I mean, always some drama, it seems like. I know you stay in your lane, but you're aware of what's going on in the building. People want to go. People want to stay. What are we doing here? How do you show up? You're a positive guy. Seems like you always have a smile on your face. You show up and do your job. Some troubles, maybe drama around you. How do you stay focused and also want what's best for the franchise?
Yeah, definitely. I think, one, I just got to do my part. I'm trying to be the best player I can be. You know, and I think I'm with you guys. I'm just trying to look back and see how everything's going to play out and just go from there. You know, I'm a captain of this football team, and I just try to go out there and show that. So talking to guys and just keeping guys motivated and everything, but knowing that when we come back, we come back to work. Whoever we got in that building, we come back to work, come back to win.
And when you're a captain, that's not just on game day for that 60 minutes.
Right.
That's in the locker room. That's on the phone with your guys. That's texting. You have to be a leader 24/7, don't you?
No doubt, definitely.
Hey, man, Denzel, I want to say thank you for being you, man.
Appreciate
you're amazing. You're just at the beginning, too, of all the lives you're going to impact, but you already have. You talked about that one, Chris. He hasn't made an impact on somebody's life, but we're starting to see that we know this is going to expand over the years as you keep doing what you're doing. So thank you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man.
He's going to make an impact on my life, too, when he takes my job. This guy's ready for TV.
He might be ready for TV.
He could walk into the station today and take my job. Hey, props to you and props to Mom over here, too. Good work.
Appreciate it.
Good looking out.
Thank you.
Hey, we're back on Big Game Bound, live from Radio Row in New Orleans, alongside Jared Payton, the son of Sweetness. I'm Chris Hagan. You know, we bring this to all the good folks in the Next Star Nation.
Yeah.
And we've got a Next Star alum here with us.
I
Jared
know,
Payton.
right? Next Star alum, Annie Agar is in
Yeah.
building. What's going on?
How's it going, guys?
Do you remember Next Star? Do you remember
100%.
those days? And
Yeah,
Jack
I was
Doles?
my local news days. Yep, I worked in local news. It was before I did the videos, before COVID, and we were owned by Nexstar, our local news company. Great. I mean, my local news taught me everything I know about. I mean, I was carrying a camera around to high school football games. 3 high school football games a night, rushing back to get highlights on air.
Are you complaining now because
No,
you don't work here
Not
anymore?
at all.
Okay.
You know
good.
what though? Shout out to Jack Doles because he's still doing that.
Jack
Yeah,
Doles.
yeah.
Unbelievable.
We started this show. I started
The
doing this show
OG.
with him in 2019.
That's unbelievable. That's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Now, at what point did you realize you had multiple personality disorder and you started doing those videos? Were you diagnosed or what happened?
Well, it starts with the Packers fandom. I think it just kind of brings it out of everybody. Yeah, it works out really well in my part for these videos, for sure. Yeah. The multiple jerseys that I have is probably the funniest. And then teams start getting smart and sending me more. So I think I haven't counted, but I have one for every 32 team. And then I have shirts and stuff because I play the coaches and everything. So, yeah, it's a bit extreme.
What was the genesis of that? Because you could tell you didn't start out with a big budget and you weren't realizing that everybody and their cousin was going to see this. And can you imagine from then to now how it just blew up?
It's unbelievable. Like you said, I was taping logos onto the shirts. And for a while, I kept it that way because, you know, a Jets logo falling off just kind of fits. So,
no.
but yeah, I didn't really, when I did the first video, and it was a Big Ten video, I just did it because we kind of lacked a comedic relief that was going on during COVID, and we weren't talking about sports because it was the first time all sports had shut down, at least for me. You know, I don't think it was unprecedented times. And so I did a video just trying to kind of remind people that it's okay to laugh and let's bring sports back into the conversation. And it got 3 million views overnight. And then I thought, okay, this might be something people want a little bit more frequently. And that led to the NFL, these weekly NFL videos. And I never in my wildest dreams thought, I mean, I wanted to, and this ties back to my brother's whole story, and we can get into that maybe later, but he always thought that there's no limits on anything. So when I first started doing these videos, and I always wanted to get to ESPN, you know, I wanted to be at these big networks, it not once in my mind did it stop me from doing anything, thinking, oh, it's ESPN, that's so far off, you're never going to get there. Because look at what social media opens up. It's wild. So to your point, I never thought that I would get here, but I wanted to, and I think that I just kind of directed myself in that way and didn't limit myself at all. So hopefully.
Well, I'm going to tell you something that I don't know if you hear enough. I'm proud of you because I see how hard you work.
Thank you so much.
You work hard, and people they think, and just even watching the videos, but they don't see the behind the scenes stuff and how much that you do. And so I want to give you credit for all the work that you put into this and building your own brand. It's not hard. People are afraid to do it these days. You found a way to be able to do it and capitalize on it, and man, reason why you are so successful.
Oh, I appreciate that. That means a lot. It is a lot, and I think people think maybe I have a writer sometimes or I have an editor, and I do it all myself. I write it because I want people to know it's genuine. And it's a 12-hour process to put those videos out there. So I do it for the fans, and I'm glad that they like them, and I enjoy doing them. So, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, Austin Kellerman is here. He can attest to this. One time I had a video that got 306 views.
Let's go.
And I don't
Let's
know.
go.
I mean, I don't want to brag on
Jesus
myself.
had 12 followers,
Yeah,
so
you know?
guys, you don't need that many. You don't need that many.
I wouldn't call it viral, but some people watch it. Now, what I'm curious about is you get so much love, funny stuff, good stuff. What about the haters that say,
man.
You're so stupid, you don't even know.
Oh, I don't have haters,
Keep
guys.
the Browns out of your
I
mouth.
don't have haters. That's majority all Bears fans.
True. Facts.
It's true. You know, it is funny because I try to walk a fine line with my jokes where it could be, it's borderline, it insults people or it's seen as offensive. And every player I talk to, they're like, no, I get it. Like, it's a great joke. And I try to make the jokes, I guess classy is a good word, but you know, I would never insult someone if it's not true. I'd never defame somebody. You know, it's a factual statement that happened, and I try to make light of it so that fans who are watching it, who are upset that, you know, Mark Andrews dropped a pass in a big game, well, I make a joke, it lightens the mood. They can talk about it with their family and friends, and they're like, yeah, that game sucked, but like, did you see Annie's joke? You know, stuff like that. Hopefully brings them out of this pit of depression that they're in, and I know about that pit. Been there before. My brother's been there a few more times than I have, but you know, we've both been there. And yeah, so I think comedy just kind of brings things to light a little bit more. But there are people that find issues with things, and that's okay. You know, as long as it's factual and I know that I'm putting out genuine content that's true to me, then I feel okay about it. And if it ever got to a point where I thought I'd hurt someone's feelings, then I would obviously, pull back a little bit. But I feel like I'm right on that line, hopefully.
Now, when I used to do stand-up comedy, and my comedy career went so well, I'm a sportscaster now. There would be jokes that I was like, this is really funny, but I can't say it. Do you have some things that you come up with in your mind and you're like, this would be so good? So you need to text me those. So
Okay.
I can
Great.
listen to them.
Yeah.
There is a fine line, like you said. It's humor. You don't want to hurt feelings, but some things, no matter how you try to dance around it, it's going to hurt some feelings.
Yeah, and that's the tough thing with comedians because, a lot of comedians, like my content I try to keep relatively clean in terms of like swearing or, jokes that went a little too far because I know there are parents have reached out to me before saying their kids watch or they share with their grandparents, and I was taught to be very respectful from my parents, so it's a really weird thing for me, but I know you have to kind of toe that line too because that's where the humor is, and I have a demographic of people that are my age too, so that's the jokes that we would make, and I try to keep it as genuine to my content as possible, and I now that I've done it for a couple years, I know what that feels like, and if a joke feels off and it doesn't feel like it would fit in, then I just pull it and kind of keep it to myself. I'm like, that would have been good, but it's not worth it. So.
I want to be on that chat list there.
Yeah.
So, Annie, you were talking about your brother. Talk about that process and that relationship and how that all is. Because I don't think people know that unless they follow you on social media. They see that it's spliced in there a lot.
Yeah.
But it's not the forefront. But I know your relationship, family, and all that means so much to you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, family is everything to me. My brother's a huge Lions fan, and I know I've posted a little bit before, and I just kind of leaned into it more recently because he did a big race. But he and I have always had this rivalry, so I post the Lions-Packers content. But he does Ironman races with my dad. So my dad, who's 62, pushes and pulls him, who he just turned 30, through these races, and in order to motivate other people. And it's the most incredible thing I've ever experienced. We've seen numerous Super Bowls and sporting events, and I'm in shock, and I get goosebumps at the best moments in sports. But to be at an Ironman where my brother gets out, I can't get emotional on it.
Yeah.
Where my brother gets out of his wheelchair and he'll walk the last mile of the race to kind of get my dad to the finish line is just the most incredible experience. And he he told my parents one day, he was like, I'm going to get out and walk one of the races. And my parents never said, well, Johnny, you've taken 20 steps your whole life. There's no way you're going to be able to walk a mile. How many steps are even in a mile? And he just said, I'm going to do it. And I think that mentality leads to where I am today. And it's such an athlete mentality. Football players think the same way. I just have to do it. Like, I'm just going to get there, all the training, all the diet that they do, the requirements to be an NFL player. So he resonates with athletes so much. And that's his outlook on life. And I think that transcends over my whole family. And it's just wild because I know I wouldn't be here if I didn't have that kind of same mentality. And he never complains. He can't eat by himself or get up by himself. And he's just the most positive person. So his only flaw is that he's a Lions fan. But other than that, he's a great
you
human
had
being.
to pile on there. Hey, they're about to wrap us up here. But quickly, we have to get everybody's pick on the game come Sunday.
Oh, you know what? Everybody's been telling me don't bet against the Chiefs. So that being said, I'm betting against the Chiefs. I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles.
There we
Taking
go.
that plus
Barkley,
money.
baby.
Taking
There
that
we go.
plus money.
Hey, Annie, I still feel like you're part of the family. You've done great things. Often imitated, never duplicated.
Love it.
Annie
Thank
Agard.
you.
Hey, that's going to do it for Jared and I right now. But stay tuned. After the break, we got more streaming from Radio Row. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to downtown New Orleans. I'm Jasmine Huda alongside my colleague Sarah Pacheski. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
It is great to be at Radio Row in this lead up to the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. And we've got a really special guest with us talking about the next Super Bowl site in San Francisco. Let's bring in San Francisco 49ers linebacker Curtis Robinson. How are you today?
I'm here.
So you're here for the NFL honors tonight. Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. How has it been just being in the city so far?
It's been awesome. I got in last night. My mom got in as well. So we went and did the tourist thing. Cafe Du Monde this morning. Had the beignets and coffee, which was cool. But Radio Row's been cool. We're really looking forward to tonight, though.
So tonight, Walter Payton Man of the Year. How important was it for you to get that nomination from your team? I know you had a lesser role this year being injured and having that ACL injury. Just what does it mean to be part of that elite group of 32 individuals?
Yeah, I mean, even just hearing you say it again, it does mean the world. And I've spoken on it pretty much all day today. My mom is a Bay Area native and grew up watching Joe Montana and Jerry Rice really blaze through the NFL when they were at their prime. And so to be a member of that organization and then to be representing this organization in this way at this place, it's special for me. But to have my mom alongside me, it means the world.
So what is your role with the Bay Area Host Committee now?
We actually met earlier today, and we've been discussing a lot about what impact the hosting of the Super Bowl will really have on the community in the Bay. It's going to be something special. I think the Bay Area is a really special place. It's a very big place, and there's a lot of communities there, and not all of them are very highly recognized, but I've had the opportunity to spend almost 9 years in the Bay now, both in school and in the NFL, and having access to all the communities ranging from the city to Oakland to the South Bay, it's amazing the people that you meet and how diverse the communities are. And I think that, and Z could speak more accurately on this, but the impact that it could have to have a huge sporting event like this and all that media attention on the area will be huge, not only for the Bay Area, but I think people being able to see what the Bay Area has to offer will be really, really cool.
It's great to get that exposure, and we're seeing that in New Orleans now
100%.
when we think about how the NFL is showcasing different communities, ideas, cultural representation for groups. Many people are not familiar with the person who, for example, came up with the logo and her tradition and masking. So can you talk a little bit about that and maybe the types of ideas or things you would focus on?
Well, let me chime in here, too. Have you taken any inspiration from Cam Jordan and Demario Davis's work highlighting New Orleans while you're here, seeing what they've been able to do?
I think two amazing people, by the way, that you just named. The stuff that they do to highlight their community that they're playing in is phenomenal, and I think that 100%. I took inspiration from Eric Armstead as well. He was a Sacramento kid, and he represented the Niners better than almost anybody in the community, and I think that I got to watch that as a rookie coming up these last few years. So doing what I can. Obviously, I'm not from there, but like I said, I've spent a lot of time, and I can really appreciate the people of the Bay Area. So I do what I can whenever I'm at events like this to really give good publicity to the area, because there is really just truly so many amazing people out there.
Yeah, I think for you too, Curtis, right? Like you're nominated for an award tonight, and it's all around all you've done in the community in the Bay. The Niners are a great organization. They give back to the community a lot. And so we're taking their reps and all the things that they do in the community and making sure the Super Bowl is doing the same. And I think New Orleans is a great example for us as well. Like we have an opportunity, almost a responsibility to use the game to do so much more for the region. And there's a lot of people we need to serve when we're there too. So we'll do it.
That's something to look forward to as well when you think about the possible end cap, because it's not just about the game. It's about the people and the next generation and doing something for the community.
Definitely. I think large sporting events like this also, I think, open access, or at least open the idea of getting involved in sports. I think a lot of times there's a misconception that once you're done as an athlete, there really is no road in sports. And I think that there's honestly more jobs in sports outside of being an athlete than there is being an athlete. So I think it'll be really cool for people to be able to come and work this event and be around the event. Like you said, you see a large media event like this, having something like this in the Bay Area is going to be awesome to just expose local media outlets and also people who are looking to get into that. I think it'll just be really cool. And like I said, she has an amazing plan to instill that. But it's just, I think it's a really, really amazing opportunity.
Yeah. Obviously, I have to bring you to football, talk a little bit of football while you're here. Is it a little bit weird this year being on the other side of the Super Bowl after playing in one last year?
Yes. It's very disappointing. Obviously, everyone's goal is to get to the Super Bowl. So to have been there last year and be here this year as a person that's not playing, it's a little bit weird. but definitely less stressful. Around this time last year, we were preparing and stressing for sure, but it's a different experience. But
I told Curtis he's allowed to have this year off, and next year,
next year's what we're
when he
looking
comes
forward
into
to
the
now for
Bay,
sure.
to just make it happen then.
Try to make
So
sure it's a home
there you
game
go.
for us.
Home game.
How tough is it to focus during a Super Bowl week while your team, I know you have that experience from last
Yeah.
year, but it's kind of tough for any of us. We can say how hard it is, and we don't play football, but
Yeah.
you're one of those people that actually know how hard it is to manage this circus around you.
Yeah. I mean, luckily, our team has a lot of very good professional individuals, both at the staff level and the player level. So once we got out there, we had a clear mission of what we wanted to accomplish. And so it wasn't very hard to stay, focused on that. I think, obviously, you see there's a huge media circus that surrounds the Super Bowl naturally. And there's a lot of, especially depending on the location, just a lot of natural distractions. But for us, once the travel and everything had settled, we were pretty good at being focused while we were out there.
Is this way a little bit more fun? Even though you want to play for a championship.
No, I
but-
would say being able to actually be in the show is what's more fun. I'm enjoying this. I'm not having a good time, but I would definitely prefer to be playing.
Your smile says something a little bit different. It seems like you're having somewhat of a good time here.
Yeah, it's great people here. I'm having a good time.
Can you talk about your mom? You brought her with you. You
Yeah.
had some time this morning at Cafe Du Monde.
Yeah.
How important is she? We know families are such a critical part of the success
Yeah.
of an athlete.
Yeah, I mean, my family's my world. My mom and my dad are the reason why I was able to be in this position. But with my mom specifically, like I said, she grew up in the area. So to be able to represent the organization in this way as an individual, it's cool for me because I get to do it for her. But from my community work specifically, like it's all inspired from her. She's a teacher or a professor. And so all the work I did with the education and within the community was really inspired by her. So it means the world to have her out here. I can't wait to have her on the honors with me. But yeah. Very special person. Can't say enough about her.
Well, Curtis, they're telling us to wrap. We can't wait to see you on the red carpet tonight
Okay.
at NFL Honors. It was great having you. Hopefully we get to see you walking across the stage tonight.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see.
Awesome.
Thank you so
guys.
much for
Thank you,
being
guys.
here. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you.
And we will be right back with more. And we have a whole jam-packed show. We've got Taste of the NFL, Gen Youth, more guests. Got a jam-packed, loaded show coming up.
Okay, welcome back to Big Game Bound. Jasmine Huda alongside Sarah Petruski. We never really got into what brought us here in the first place. We've got the Super Bowl and all the coverage leading up to us, but tell everyone what you do for Nexstar.
Well, right now I am a sports broadcaster and anchor based in Baton Rouge, covering the New Orleans Saints, some LSU, a lot of fun stuff. But down here, how's New Orleans? This is basically my home. What's your experience of the city so far?
It's funny, it's like yin and yang here because I'm a hard news person. Sarah knows all things sports, so we kind of balance each other out. My impression, I haven't been to New Orleans since I was a little one. It's awesome being back, and just the fact that I'm here for the Super Bowl is incredible. I mean, just being at Radio Row. You've been to Radio Row before in other different capacities.
I have, but we are showing some of your behind-the-scenes experience.
Yes, this was our first day here. We kind of got a tour of where we would be doing our live reports in the morning. By the way, Sarah and I are up very, very, very early. We are delivering reports for nearly all of the Nexstar stations. Nexstar owns about 200 TV stations across the country. And this is when we went into a coffee. Was this French truck?
Yes, French truck, one of my favorites in New Orleans.
Talk about some of your favorite spots.
A lot of my favorite spots, I don't think anybody really has gone to. I'm a big fan of Off the Beaten Path. I like for drinks, like to go to the Columns Hotel and like to go to the Chloe, which are both in the Garden District and in Uptown. They're both fantastic spots. I recently discovered a new lobster roll shack
That was yesterday,
yes,
right?
A new lobster roll shack that is seasonal, only open from November to February, I believe. It was one of the best things I've ever eaten in New Orleans. And then, of course, favorite restaurant is Saba up in Uptown. It is an Israeli restaurant. It is fantastic, and the blue crab hummus is to die for.
Blue crab hummus. That sounds awesome. Oh, we're kind of giving people a behind-the-scenes tour while we're talking of what we've been doing in the morning. What's that been like for you?
It's been a switch. It's been different. I know we talked about we both don't do mornings, but sports people, we definitely do not do mornings. So this is a whole new world for me.
Yeah, we wake up early. We head over to the domestic compound outside the Superdome, and we bright and early. We're providing reports for our Next Star TV stations. You can see there, we call them mic flags for the different stations across the country.
Well, we were talking about food, and I think we have some guests that are here to talk about some food.
Yes, we are very excited.
I have questions.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, we have two special guests here. You can't really talk about New Orleans without talking about food, and what better way to combine the two than to talk about a wonderful event called the Taste of the NFL. Joining us, we have Chef Andrew Zimmern. Thank you for being here.
Happy to be here.
And Maureen Bausch from Gen Youth. And we're going to explain what Gen Youth is, because that is what this entire event benefits. So I'm going to start with you, Chef. Tell us what Taste of the NFL is. This is happening Saturday here in New Orleans.
Yeah, it's a party that does good. We raise money for all of Gen Youth's programs in schools, which includes meals, nutrition, education, getting the resources to kids to be able to exercise and to get physically developed and more well. It is a holistic approach to solving a problem that I think is the key to solving hunger in America. If we're going to do that, we need to have a place where that we can affect the most kids, and that's in schools. And I've been involved in Taste of the NFL for 32 years of its 33-year existence. Gen Youth has been the producer and beneficiary for the last 5 years. They own the event and have been working with them. And the party keeps growing. The food keeps getting better. Great chefs from outside of the host city, from the host city, more and more players, Hall of Famers, legends in attendance. And it just keeps getting bigger and better. And we are making a difference. I would encourage people to go to tasteofthenfl.com, regardless of where you're hearing this. If you're not coming to the Super Bowl and not coming to the event this year, maybe next year, maybe you want to contribute to the programs that Gen Youth is operating 365 days a year in school districts all across America. And we're going to be doing more and more events all year long, including an event called Taste of the Draft coming up in Green Bay later this spring. And Saba is a great restaurant. I don't come down. I'm a New Englander by birth, so I don't come down to New Orleans for a lobster roll, but we need to have a conversation afterwards. You name-checked a lot of really good spots.
Yes.
I
know you're keeping, I know what you're doing, because I do the same thing. The place you love the most, you're not going to tell anyone, because then the line's going to be out the door.
Absolutely.
Welcome to my problem in life. Yeah.
You've earned some serious street cred here,
But
Sarah.
Saba is a great restaurant. Love it.
I want to hear about Gen Youth, because this is all about helping the kids in schools. Tell us about where this money goes and the mission of Gen Youth.
Yes. Gen Youth was actually founded by America's dairy farmers and the NFL as partners, and we were founded to solve a problem, to help kids thrive in schools. And 30 million children across the country rely on their schools for nutritious meals. And so we provide the equipment that many times the government will provide the food, but they need to have access to those foods. For example, you don't want it. There is a stigma if you need the food going into the cafeteria in the morning. Gen Youth has solved that problem by pulling a food cart out in the hallway where every child can grab breakfast. And if you eat breakfast, as you know, learning curve goes way up. So it's through those kind of delivery systems that we're able to help kids access the food they need. And Gen Youth also, for the NFL, implements the flag football program throughout the United States in thousands of schools.
And Taste of NFL that is happening this Saturday. It's, if we're going to draw the analogies of sports, we have an all-star lineup when it comes to chefs, all-star lineup with NFL legends who are going to be there. Let's give our audience kind of a taste of what they can expect. Nexstar did a great series called Big Game Bound, Cajun Cooking. I watched it while I was at work, and I think people thought I was just surfing YouTube, but it was really incredible because these recipes.
You did a great job.
Oh,
yeah.
well, I didn't do it, but hats off to Alyssa Orange and her producer for doing this. Let's show our audience an example of one of the chefs in their restaurant from New Orleans being featured.
Walked around the French Quarter in New Orleans, chances are you've walked right by Brennan's, the restaurant that made brunch famous and created Bananas Foster.
Chicken wings and football and chicken wings, they go hand in hand, and we are at Brennan's with executive chef Ryan Hacker, who is going to show us how to cook some amazing chicken wings. First and foremost, you're going to teach us how to brine chicken wings. Why is that important?
So brine is essentially a flavored saltwater solution, and it reacts with the protein and lets moisture go in, but then it like locks it there to where it can't go in and get out. We're gonna put our tea bag in there, and that's just gonna sit in there with our wings once we put them in. And we're gonna put that down in there, push that out, and we're gonna take the water, and we're just gonna pour it over the top of all of it. So we brined our chicken wings. This is what the water ends up looking like after it's sat for overnight. And the real key to getting a super crispy chicken wing is you have to cook it, and then you have to cool it down, and then you cook it again at a much higher temperature.
You've been a part of the event before, but not in your hometown.
Right.
What does that mean?
No pressure, right?
No pressure.
No pressure. No, it's a huge honor. You know, it really is. I think the work that Gen Youth now does is amazing, and anything that we can do to support it, we want to do.
We're getting close to the end. We've cooked
are.
these once, we've cooled them down, we're cooking them a second time.
That's right. And so this time we want that high heat, right? And so it's really best to have a deep fryer for this. If you don't have a home deep fryer, you can use a cast iron Dutch oven. So you're gonna take a few cubes of butter, throw it in with the hot wings. Then you're gonna take your sauce, pour it around the outside, and pour that in. And so then it's all about tossing.
Woo!
Just dump them right on top.
Cheers to the chicken wings. Thank you.
I'd like that gig.
That sounds like a fantastic gig.
Alyssa Orange's gig?
Yes. That gig, yeah.
Yeah,
You got
it's
to
not
test
a-
him on the best food.
It's not a bad one.
Can you talk about New Orleans cuisine and kind of the stuff that's going to be featured at Taste of the NFL?
Well, I mean, you have outsiders like me who have decided, because I like challenge, so I like to cook foods that are germane to the city that we're going into. So I'm actually doing my gumbo in my booth because I want the challenge. I want people to come up to me and say, you know something? For a city guy from way up north, you do this the right way. I live in Minnesota. So the Mississippi River is born in Itasca State Park in the Boundary Waters in northern Minnesota, and it empties out into the Gulf here in this incredible city. And so I always found a great symbiosis between the two. I've spent a lot of time in New Orleans. New Orleans is the birthplace of American cuisine. American cuisine is not the food of Western Europe that is cooked in northeastern cities. American cuisine over the last 150 years, 180 years, is the food of Western Africa shot through the prison of the Caribbean with colonial French and Spanish influence that is permeated throughout the South. That is to me, American cuisine when it comes to post-contact, right? We're not talking about the indigenous peoples that were here. Obviously, everything, we're standing on native land everywhere in this country. But I think it's really important to recognize that New Orleans is a special food city. It's the only city in America I know of when you say its name, you can taste it. And that's a really important thing. Whether you've been here or not, you have a sense of what New Orleans is, that smell of roux, that smell of seafood, a beignet at Café du Monde. I think it's a very special place and one of my favorite food cities on planet Earth.
Wow, that's quite an endorsement.
Well, I just assume eat here is anywhere else. I mean, is it the top 10 world's best food city? I don't know. I mean, Tokyo, Beijing, New York. I mean, you've got a lot of cities, competing for that title. But is there a place that has better food than New Orleans? I don't think so. I mean, those top 40, 50 cities around the world that are legendary for food, where you go to eat, where you make reservations before you buy your plane tickets, right? Depending on where you get into, that's what you got to do. But I think, to the point that you were making earlier, it's not the famous places you know about. It's the little sneaky spots on the periphery, the places I go with my chef friends at 3 p.m. when there's no one there and just pig out. Those are the places that I think define this city, whether it's for a great po' boy, a great platter of fried fish, a great bowl of red beans and rice. I go to R&O's in Metairie. I don't know if you've been there. It's like a secret little...
I've not, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, you need to go. You need to go. And anyone who comes to town, you need to go. And the reason I now give away those little tidbits is the independent restaurant industry in America has been kneecapped over the last 6-7 years, and it's really important that we support them. The independent restaurant community supports Gen Youth and allows us to do the things that we do and raise the money that we do to increase the number of programs in school districts across the country. So we need to support neighborhood restaurants. Go support your neighborhood restaurants. Spend money in your neighborhood restaurant. It gives back $1.35 for every dollar you spend into your local economy, which pays for school books for your kids and traffic signs. So let's support restaurants.
This is a win-win when you think about it, supporting those small independent restaurants and supporting the kids. And Maureen, a percentage of what's raised at this event is going to go directly to schools in Louisiana. And can you break that down? And the rest of it will go to other schools across the country.
And one of the things we've tried to do is showcase those restaurants in the host city market. It's what the NFL wants to do. And you have a phenomenal group of restaurants. In fact, Brennan's will be there with their Bananas Foster. But we will have over 40 stations. We'll have over 40 players that come and sign autographs and take photos, etc. And with that, we will raise $1.5 million at least for schools in New Orleans and Louisiana and across the country in NFL markets. 25% of it stays in this state, and the rest is split between the other NFL markets. So you can buy quite a few pieces of equipment with that.
Now, people are watching in other cities.
Yes.
They might not be coming to New Orleans for the Super Bowl. Maybe they are coming for Taste of the NFL. I'm sure that's the case. But if people want to support this cause and support these restaurants, what can they do?
Well, they can get the recipes at tasteofthenfl.com, and they can make them during their Super Bowl game watching party. And they can also donate on NFL.com and pop up right away, and you can make a wonderful donation, and we would totally appreciate it.
GenYouthNow.org, tasteofthenfl.com, AndrewZimmern.com. There's links to donate to Gen Youth and the works that they're doing on all those websites. I would just add one more thing. I want to put a big magic mark, yellow highlighter under what Maureen said. Every time Gen Youth comes and does an event, the last 5 Super Bowls now, the leave behind in that community is massive. 25% of everything we raise stays behind to help the programs in that host city. And we particularly we limit the number of chefs from out of town, but we take a huge number of restaurants that are local. We want to celebrate what's great about this town, because so many people that come to this event, to your point, are visitors, right? So it's a really, really important thing. A great party for a great cause.
Well, we are excited to hear about it. Tickets are still available for people who are in town this weekend and this Saturday, correct?
NFL.com, or tasteofthenfl.com.
All right, Maureen Bosch and Chef Andrew Zimmern, thank you so much for
you.
coming. We appreciate it, and good luck. Not that you need it.
Thank you. And after the break, we'll have more from Radio Row. Well, welcome back to Radio Row, and it wouldn't be Super Bowl week if we didn't talk a little football, right? I know, Jasmine, you said you're not so much, you're more the news person and not so much sports person.
Oh, I'm loving the atmosphere, though. You can still love it, and even though I don't know the ins and outs and X's and O's like you do, but yeah, it is. This is your forte.
Absolutely.
I'm sending it to you, Sarah.
This week, there's so many local Louisiana kids playing in the Superdome, a place they dreamed of ever since they were a kid. They play high school state championships here in December, so some of these kids played high school state championships in high school and now get to come back and play in a Super Bowl. I know Chiefs safety Justin Reed is one of those kids. He didn't end up actually playing for a state title in the Superdome, but his older brother did play for the 49ers back in the day, so he grew up going to the Superdome and now gets to have his brother watch him play in a Super Bowl in the Superdome. He's from Dutchtown, a quick drive down the road, an hour away. But another person who is going to be playing in the Super Bowl from an hour away is Eagles wide receiver Devonta Smith. This is a shot from the last Super Bowl party he had 2 years ago for Super Bowl 57 in his hometown of Amite, Louisiana. You can tell they shut down the whole town for him to have so much fun and party and support him. It's one of those small towns in Louisiana where everybody just throws their support. We were able to talk to his high school head coach, who's still in Amite, and he gave so much insight into what it's like being able to watch someone you coached for years. And here's another look at that party. They just had so much fun. They had shirts, they're cooking food. Isn't that something you'd want to be a part of?
Yeah, and I love how you have a small community really just throwing their weight behind kind of their native son.
They're having so much fun. They're wearing Jalen Hurts jerseys,
yeah.
watching it on the big screen, having a good time. An Alabama Devonta Smith jersey where he went to college, won national titles, won a Heisman.
Yeah.
They're so excited that was 2 years ago. I know the city of Amite is definitely wanting a different result this time. So let's see and hear from his high school head coach.
2016, we played against Lutcher in the Dome. Unfortunately, we came out on the short end of it, but for Devontae to sign a scholarship, University of Alabama, and go off and win a couple of national championships there, win a Heisman Trophy, then to be drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles, had an opportunity to play in the Super Bowl before, and now getting an opportunity to go play for it again. I mean, he's been in blessed situations from Amite High School to University of Alabama to playing for one of the best professional organizations in all of pro sports in Philadelphia. But also at the same token, he's a young man that puts in the work and has earned everything that he's receiving right now. It's no other feeling than to turn on your TV, whether it was a Saturdays when he was playing in college or on Sundays, or to turn on and see him out there playing. He's like, man, he was just in our weight room, or he was just walking in our hallways just a few years ago, and it seems just like yesterday, but just to see it is gratifying. I'll put it to you like this. I mean, it's some of our alumni, they're pretty much kind of already talking about going down to New Orleans, for the Super Bowl, pretty much kind of shutting down a portion of the street just to be there, for Devontae. But I mean, our town loves him, and that's everybody in our community. Pretty much kind of full circle, like I said, going back to the first question about him playing in the Superdome, 2016, state championship, and have an opportunity to come back and be at home. We're more family and more friends can have opportunity to see him, whether it's live or from the comforts of their home. I mean, it means a lot.
It's certainly special, and it's crazy to think that Devonta Smith was a part of that Super Bowl team from 2 years ago, Super Bowl 57, where he lost his Chiefs, has a chance to redeem his high school state title loss with a Super Bowl as well
yeah,
as his hometown.
I'd say that's impressive. That is really awesome to see just how far he's come, and to have your coach, someone who's a role model and your cheerleader of sorts.
I'm waiting to hear. I know I don't have the soundbite, but Justin Reed was also asked about how many tickets he had to buy. And Dutchtown's just as far as Amite is from New Orleans, and he said he needed to buy 30, and he needs to win the game just to recoup the money. So I can only imagine how much money Devonta Smith is having to drop on tickets with family and friends, all wanting to be here to support him. I mean, they shut down the town last time.
Well, let's see, 30 times what? $7,000 to $8,000 a ticket. I didn't major in math, but that's a lot of money.
And this Super Bowl also has a lot of other meaning.
You were able, while you were here, to visit the memorial from the New Year's Day terror attack tragedy on Bourbon Street. And there is also a football tie. One of the victims, Tiger Besh, was killed in it. He was a former football player at Princeton, is from Lafayette as well, just up the road from New Orleans. And his younger brother, Jack Besh, is actually going through the NFL draft process right now. Just a week ago, he was in Mobile doing the Senior Bowl, a month after losing his brother. I was able to talk to him there, and let's have more on Jack's story.
Louisiana native and former LSU Tiger Jack Besh is flashing at the Senior Bowl with his physicality, a trait he learned from his older brother.
I think that was just the way I was made. You know, I've always been physical, you know, doing whatever. I think I attribute that to my brother and all his friends growing up. You know, they're always beating me up, messing with me, whether that was just trying to play football with them out on the trampoline.
As Besh prepares for the NFL draft, he'll have to do it without his brother Tiger, who was killed on New Year's Day in the terror attack in New Orleans.
I think God, you know, he makes no mistakes. And I think he helped my faith grow so much through all the adversity I've been through in college, because he knew I was about to face. He knew I was going to lose my brother, my best friend, my other half. I think he was just preparing me for this moment to be able to get through the death of my brother.
The wide receiver is making sure he carries his brother's legacy, wearing his number 7 jersey at the Senior Bowl, while the same number is proudly displayed on the back of everyone's helmets.
I got angel wings on me. You know, I got the greatest guardian angel of them all right there pulling me through whatever I got now. It's the date he was born and the date he had passed with 7 to heaven right here. And this is above my heart, like it's coming up to the sky, and this is right on my heart the day he was born and died. I wanted to get this just like I say, you know, he was my other half and he will always be my other half. And this is just a little way. I thought it would be awesome to have on me the rest of my life.
Reporting for Your Go Nation, I'm Sarah Palczewski.
So that was obviously a story I did last week. It's really hard to imagine, but this Senior Bowl was just played on Saturday. And how about things working in mysterious ways? Jack Besh caught the game-winning touchdown on a play that started with 7 seconds left on the clock.
Wow. Talk about suspense, and just kind of gives you chills when you think about it.
I know, and his brother Tiger's best friend Ryan, who was injured in that New Year's Day attack as well, is coming to the Super Bowl. He is a big Eagles fan. The Philadelphia Eagles, I don't know if anybody saw it on social media, posted an emotional video that they gifted him tickets to come to New Orleans and be with them to watch the Eagles Super Bowl. And it was very emotional and very touching. Of course, through tragedy, sports always brings people together.
That is absolutely true. Really, really great story there, Sarah. Well, you are watching Game Bound. We'll be right back.
Every time I saw the masked Indians, you thought that these people were like celebrities.
Walked through the water, swam through mud. I crossed the Nile to slay that crocodile. The big sea dive, that's just my style. Boom!
You think you know New Orleans. You dance to her trumpets and breathe in her warmth. But behind the beaded curtain lies her truth.
You can convert Black Africans out of a lot of things. You cannot convert us out of honoring our ancestors.
A culture uncovered, revealing color, movement, and sound. Black masters exemplifying excellence, reclaiming Super Bowl Sunday as Super Sunday.
When that tambourine hit, and when the chants coming up down the streets and those feathers moving in the street, that's when you had the glory of Mardi Gras in our communities. sacred.
You just watched a trailer of Shallow Water, a brief film that was produced by the NFL showcasing the culture and representation that went into this year's theme. A young woman, as you know, Sarah, named Queen Taj, a Louisiana native, New Orleans native, was tapped to come up with the logo and all of the designs throughout New Orleans. And you and I have seen it throughout this week. It's beautiful.
It is absolutely beautiful, and I'm so glad the NFL got away from the generic standard logo that they were using for a couple years and back to the creative ones made by people in their own communities, back like the ones they were making in the 90s and early 2000s. It kind of gave a stamp of remembrance of this Super Bowl, and it made you remember it a little bit more, and I think it was important to also showcase a little bit of the city, and I really appreciate how the NFL decided to this year incorporate the cultural representation in New Orleans.
And you could see it in the images of Shallow Water. Queen Taj was part of the talks about the black masking tradition and how it was used in her culture going back generations. And if you've been in New Orleans this week, and when you watch the Super Bowl on Sunday, you're going to see that imagery. It's all over town. I mean, I'm looking at it now on at Radio Row.
If anybody's gone to the light projection show, it's incorporated in that at night on St. Louis Cathedral. It's really everywhere.
Yeah, opening night, we were at the Dome. And you walk into it. First of all, it's also cool to see the field where they're going to play on Sunday. But they have this huge logo, and it had a texture to it. It had like a beaded logo where it says LIX for Super Bowl 59.
And have you seen the program for this year's Super Bowl
Yes,
as well?
I have.
It is fantastic how they keep incorporating this and making this Super Bowl a true stamp of New Orleans.
Yeah, Super Bowl 59, absolutely, for sure.
Well, also, while it would be Super Bowl, I mean, we're talking culture, we're talking different things. What a little fashion. If you've noticed, football players really like to show their personal style now. It's gone away from the sweatpants and the tracksuits and the forced button-up team-issued suits and ties, and it's gotten a little bit more personal. And tonight is the NFL Honors. We're going to see a lot of fashionable men taking the red carpet, and I was lucky enough to speak with one of the stylists who will be dressing multiple guys who are up for big-time awards. We're working on getting you guys that video, but that was also what you're about to see. One of the most interesting conversations I've ever had with somebody who does these things. I never knew that much work came into dressing an NFL player on game day.
It's interesting how you talk about how it's evolved over time, because it's not just about sweats and athleisure. They are dressing to the nines, and they are setting trends.
And it's the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, so we'd be remiss not to talk about Mr. Fashionista himself, Travis Kelce, who somehow every Super Bowl finds something a little bit crazier than the last.
Right. So we'll see. And we need to see what, since we're bringing him up, what Taylor Swift is wearing.
All right.
Not trying to go left field here, but yeah.
Well, it looks like we have that video and interview for you, so let's get to it. All right, so how did you get into styling NFL players?
All right, so my first career out of college, I was working as an accountant at a hedge fund. And I always had custom-made suits made for me. And I didn't like the fit that I was being given. So my wife had the idea. She said, I think you can do this yourself, Tom. So I took the suits that I had brought them to a local tailor, and that tailor taught me how to get them fitted the way that I wanted. Started an Instagram page, called it Gents Playbook, short for Gentleman's Playbook, and started putting pictures of me wearing the suits, not with the intentions of creating the business that I have today. And I got 100,000 followers in the first year just from using hashtags, menswear, men's fashion. And then NFL players started DMing me. The day that they put the DM function on, I got DMs from players. And that's when I knew I had a business. So fast forward, I left my job after about a year and a half of doing it as a side hustle. And this is my 9th year doing it full time, 10 years overall. So.
Do you remember who that very first DM was from?
Absolutely, Chase Daniel. He was the backup quarterback for Alex Smith at the time.
So is it kind of ironic that now you're here and the Chiefs are playing, and you look back at that moment and another backup for Alex Smith is now playing in the Super Bowl?
It's amazing. It really is full circle. I'll never forget Chase. Chase also loves to take credit for being the first one that kind of got me started. Also full circle. People always say that his last name is Daniels, which is incorrect. It's Daniel. And tomorrow I'm dressing Jaden Daniels. for NFL honors.
Oh, awesome.
So another.
How'd you
full
link up
circle.
with Jaden Daniels? I just know down here he's huge. Everybody loves him down
Oh,
here because he's
huge.
from LSU.
He's huge everywhere. So his agent and I are friends from New Jersey, and I've been asking all year, every week, is Jaden ready? Is Jaden ready? And if you follow his pregame wardrobe, he's wearing a Louis Vuitton set every single week. He looks unbelievable. But for the red carpet, I figured he would want to clean up and put a suit on, and I got the go-ahead. And I was at his house last Thursday, measured him up, made the suit in 24 hours. It was in my hands Saturday. I flew back to him on Monday, did the fitting, no changes. It was a perfect fit, and I flew here with it today.
So when we see Jaden walk the red carpet tomorrow at the NFL honors, we can point that this was your look you put together for him?
You can. And we put it together. I laid out all the fabrics on the table. He picked it himself. I mean, he has the eye, 100%. I obviously got it to fit right. So, I mean, it was a team effort for sure.
Is it almost a pinch me moment when you see players at events like that wearing your outfits?
Every single time. I hope it always remains a pinch me moment. I'll be at the show, and I'll be sitting there proudly watching him walk on stage when, he should win it unanimously, but you never know. And it's just, wow, I made that is the phrase I find myself saying. And I also know that my wife and my kids are watching from home, and my kids are yelling out, "That's Daddy's jacket, that's Daddy's suit." And my wife's hopping up and down. They're my biggest supporters, so it's so special.
Are you dressing anyone else at the NFL honor?
Yes, I'm also dressing Jared Verse from the Rams, who will most likely win the Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm also dressing Braden Fisk. He's his teammate and his former college teammate from FSU, but he's another Defensive Rookie of the Year nominee. I think Verse is going to take it. And I have several other Walter Payton Man of the Year noms. I'm dressing Grady Jarrett from the Falcons, Adam Thielen from the Panthers, Zach Martin from the Cowboys, and not Walter Payton Man of the Year nom, but Kyle Juszczyk is going as a guest, as a player, and I'm dressing him as well. That might be 6 or 7. I don't remember.
Do you ever sleep while you do this?
Absolutely. And partly is because my tailors do the actual cutting and sewing, right? I mean, I'm traveling in and out every day, doing the measurements, the designing, choosing the fabric, meeting with the players. I mean, last week alone, I took 8 flights in 5 days because I go in and out in the same day. I don't sleep over if I don't have to. So I'm in and out of the city, go home, sleep. Wake up the next morning, in and out another city. I did it 4 days in a row, and then I did it 2 days ago. And here I am.
How many players would you say you've dressed this year alone?
This year, well, I have 265 NFL clients. Now, not all of them buy every single year, but I mean, it's north of 100 every season for sure, probably closer to 200, because some guys will buy, a handful, and then I have the guys like Dak Prescott that buys a new one for every single game, every single year. So, and I'm getting new guys, weekly, literally every week, because a guy will wear his outfit into the locker room, and then someone asks where he got it. Or someone puts the outfit on Instagram and they tag me, and the teammate asks them. Or they go to my page and they DM me. It's just like a snowball effect.
So I heard you have dressed Travis Kelce in the past.
I have.
Just what is that experience like, especially now he's in a Super Bowl? He's very well known for his fashion choices and is directly in this massive spotlight now.
Listen, he has always been that guy with the fits. Always. I just have the pleasure of being able to know him before he was a household name. I mean, back 2016, 17, 18, 19 is when he really wore more of the formal suits that I make him. And I mean, obviously it was spectacular to work with a guy like that. But my biggest takeaway was I learned a lot from Trav, because Travis was the first guy that asked me to make him a bomber jacket. So this bounty jacket that I custom designed wouldn't exist if in 2017 Travis Kelce didn't ask me to design a bomber jacket for him. And now I make more bomber jackets than regular suit jackets because the trend is more casual for NFL players. I still do a ton of regular suits, but a lot more bomber suits are what I've been making. So, I mean, I give Trav a lot of credit for that, and he definitely pushed my thinking years ahead of where it probably would have been if I had never met him.
And you kind of just touched on that, the evolution of everything. What has the evolution gone from with these NFL player styles from when you started to what it is now? It seems like it's gone from more formal to a little bit more streetwear.
Yes. So it was more buttoned up, a tie for every week. And then when COVID hit, ties just disappeared and masks appeared. I was making guys masks out of the same suit fabric to match. I remember it was crazy. I hope I don't have to do that again. But now ties, I mean, Jaden Daniels will not have a tie on tomorrow. Jared Verse won't have a tie. Braden Fisk is. But and if you asked me that question 5 years ago, I wouldn't say I would not let anyone step foot on a red carpet without a tie. I didn't wear a tie myself on the honors red carpet last year, which is saying a lot because I'm overly formal, and my guys will love to say that about me. I mean, I feel like I don't say I have to be, but I like to be. I mean, I'm the guy that's designing all the clothes. I kind of want to set a standard. But it is more casual. Also, comfort has become a prime goal of these guys. So, I mean, like the pants I have on now are super stretchy. You know, like I want it to be a tailored fabric, but I want it to have some give. So guys don't feel as restricted. They can kind of sit back, wear a t-shirt underneath, maybe a bomber jacket. But where I kind of keep it clean and timeless, which are, you know, mantras of Gents Playbook, I do the matching sets. So like it is still a suit, but it's a casual jacket instead of a suit jacket. And also guys can take that jacket, wear with jeans when they go out to dinner with their significant others. It can be over a t-shirt, over a button-up shirt. You know, you can do a whole lot of things with it. So the versatility I want to keep as well.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by and talking with us. Tom, I'm going to mess up your last name again.
Oh, go ahead. Give it a shot. I've been hearing it my whole life wrong.
I can't even. And I'm the person that also has a difficult to pronounce last name.
Are you Italian?
Polish.
Okay.
So very difficult to pronounce.
Right.
But thank you so much.
Marcatelli.
Marcatelli, yes. A Marcatelli and a Polcheski. So
there you go.
Two names that don't sound how they look at all. Thank you so much for stopping by.
I appreciate the time.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you. And I have it now. It's Marcatelli.
Marcatelli.
Isn't it?
It's
what he
deceiving
does?
when you see it written, but yeah, incredible.
Isn't it incredible from everything?
Yeah, and just his trajectory from how he went from being a hedge fund manager,
accountant,
to doing this.
Yes, incredible.
I'm excited to see what everyone's wearing.
I'm excited to see the red carpet tonight at the NFL Honors. It's going to be. I know Jaden Daniels always looks fly. I covered him at LSU. That man loves a good style. So I know if he's using Tom Marcatelli, he's going to look good.
It's just like the Oscars. Everyone wants to see what the celebrities are wearing.
Well, we'll have more from Radio Row after this break.
Okay, we went from talking about football and fashion, Sarah, and now we are talking about football. Jasmine, talking about football, what?
You do know, because this is more newsy and more more hands-on activity that is not.
Yes, it's not
rough
breaking
and tough.
news. It's not. Well, it's interesting. It's kind of like the behind the scenes to the game. And one thing we are all familiar with when it comes to the NFL is the actual ball itself. We spent some time with Wilson Football, Wilson Sporting Goods. Some people might not know that they have been making the NFL football since year one for the Super Bowl.
Which is crazy, because that's a lot of years. Well, we're on Super Bowl 59, so that's 59 years.
59 years. This is their 59th year crafting the football used in the big game. And I had the opportunity, Sarah, to talk with someone from Wilson, David Pacheski, about what's involved in actually creating a football and just how important it is and how much pride that goes into it. We are gearing up for Super Bowl 59, and we cannot talk about the big game, you guys, without talking about this. So joining us, we have in person David Pietskiowski. David is the head of marketing for team sports for Wilson Sporting Goods. We have all heard of Wilson Sporting Goods at some point or another, and it plays a critical role in the big game this weekend. Talk about that.
It does. So I'll hit you with a fun fact to start off. Wilson has made every single Super Bowl ball in history. So this is Super Bowl 59. It is also our 59th Super Bowl, celebrating with the NFL. We've been a partner of the NFL since 1941, and we have the distinct honor of handcrafting every single Super Bowl football and NFL regulation football out of our factory in Ada, Ohio.
And what's really cool, David, is here in downtown New Orleans, like next door to us in this convention hall, some of the factory workers from Ada, Ohio are here.
We fly them in, yeah. So every year at the Super Bowl, we create an experience where we bring a truncated version of our football making experience. It's a 20-step process. It takes quite a long time, but we bring in a smaller version of that to the Super Bowl destination. So here in New Orleans this year, we fly the factory workers down. They are expert craftsmen and women. They are the brains. They put their blood, sweat, and tears into every single product that ultimately graces the NFL field. So it's a really special, unique, and authentic experience for people to see here how an actual NFL football is made.
So people can see it from start to finish.
Correct. Yeah.
That is so cool. How
It's
long
pretty cool.
does it take to make an actual football?
So the normal timetable is a couple of days, and that's just due to the fact that you're working with genuine leather. So it takes a long time. The material sort of lives and breathes, if you will. But here we have a shorter version that takes out a little bit of the process, just so people can see it from
The
start to
abridged
finish
version of
quickly.
making a football, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Not the kind of the cliff notes, if
It's
you will.
as close as we can make it. Yeah.
You made more than 100 footballs for both teams for the Super Bowl. Is that right? So they're for
Correct.
practice.
Correct. So as soon as the NFC and AFC championship games finished, our craftsmen and women, it's kind of fun. They actually have like a pizza party and watch the games at the factory. And then right after the games are done, they jump on their stations and start pumping out footballs, and they work through the night, really. Sort of an odd, cool job that you never knew existed, but someone has to do it. And we take a lot of pride in that. I know that our factory workers do as well.
Especially when we're talking about the biggest football game of the year.
Correct.
So how many of these will be used for how many did you make for the actual game itself?
So we make about 200 in total, but there is always some extras, and we always have a stash, a supply that we send to the stadium, and each of the teams get to work with the balls throughout the week, and ultimately they're prepped for the actual game.
Does it look similar to this one?
Yeah, very similar. Oftentimes the equipment managers, depending on which team is the home team, sort of gets to treat the football in the way that they want. So sometimes it comes out darker. They put different materials on it to have the grip be a little bit stronger and things like that. So sometimes it looks really dark. Sometimes it looks lighter like this. It just depends on the preference of the teams.
And these are a hot commodity after the game, right?
Very hot commodity.
And each Wilson football has the stamp, so you know you're getting the real deal.
Correct. Yes. So part of the process after the NFC and AFC championship games are done is the Super Bowl team names are listed on the actual football, along with this year's version of the Super Bowl logo.
We've been watching the last, I guess, couple of weeks footage from your factory in Ada, Ohio. It is really neat, and you see a pride of ownership with these employees. How cool is it for them to be flown out here for the Super Bowl, to be part of this?
It's really special. The town in Ohio is called Ada. It's a small town, and Wilson has been there since 1955, which is when our factory opened, and that factory lasted until last year. So you can imagine it's quite an old factory by last year. So we invested in a brand new $15 million facility that we built right next door to it, and that opened this year. So we had the honor of opening that for all the factory workers, and they're working now with I would say much better conditions, right? Much more modern equipment, et cetera. So
state of the art.
State of the art, absolutely.
Well, they certainly deserve it when you think
They
of
do.
the high stakes that we're talking about, Super Bowl 59.
They do.
How many of them are here in New Orleans?
There's about a dozen, I would say, maybe a little bit more that we fly out. And it's a cool experience for them, right? This is something that, they have the honor of coming down here and crafting these footballs for people that most of the time aren't aware that this is what happens. Like, they don't know that these footballs are actually made by hand, and they don't understand the entire process. So it really gives people an education and hopefully an appreciation for the people that are actually doing this.
All right. David Pizzicosi, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Go who this weekend?
I'm a Bears fan at heart. So
good answer. You can't take sides when we're at this stage of the game.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
David, thanks so much for joining us.
Of course.
I appreciate it.
Of course.
Learned a lot about how that all comes together.
Absolutely. And speaking about how it comes together, have you been to the NFL Experience to see how they do it there?
I'm going to go, I think, right after this. I did go to the NFL shop, and Wilson had some pretty cool footballs. You saw those too as well, right?
You know, I wish I could say I did, but I was more focused on the clothes and what clothes I wanted because everything sells out at the NFL shop.
You got to be on a mission
Super
when you
Bowl.
get in that shop. Seriously,
There's so much stuff in there too. They have the Wilson footballs, T-shirts, bags, custom bags. There's a Build-A-Bear in there.
I saw that.
What else is that? You can have custom jackets. There's
Yeah.
all sorts of things, and it's overwhelming.
Wilson had a beautiful blue football, blue like this, and it was kind of metallic. It was a commemorative football. It was stunning. I just don't think it'll fit in my suitcase.
You know, I wish, but also there's so much in that shop that I wish I could get.
Yes.
You know. And also, speaking of the NFL Experience, absolutely incredible place. It is so cool, and we just showed it earlier that at that Wilson football thing, maybe you'll get one that's on the inside signed by Saints legend Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, the New Orleans native, Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee from last year, an ambassador for the host committee this year. There's just so much going on. You never know who you're going to run into in the NFL Experience. I know maybe somebody like Tyrann Mathieu will play pickleball with you. Did you ever think that in the NFL Experience there would be pickleball courts?
No, I did step inside briefly yesterday. It's huge. I mean, unbelievable.
And I had the chance to cover a Super Bowl in Houston before, and I was at the NFL Experience in Houston. This one's 10 times larger.
Oh, yeah. It is. It feels like it's a convention hall in itself.
Well, this convention center feels that way anyways.
Yeah, if you were to see Radio Row, it looks like it goes on for miles and miles and miles. But we had a lot of fun here. We had covered a lot of topics here and a lot of cool people involved in what's going on this week.
We had so much fun. It's been so exciting.
Thanks so much for joining us for Big Game Bound. I'm Jasmine Huda.
I'm Sarah Palczewski.